My world shattered in a single screenshot. I stared at my phone, the text from an unknown number burning into my retina. Your husband's been busy with your sisters. Check the photos. I thought it was a cruel prank, some twisted joke from a stranger with too much time. But then I opened the attached images, and my heart plummeted into a void. There was Mark, my husband of 7 years, laughing in a candlelit restaurant with my older sister, Claire, her hand resting on his. Another photo showed him with my younger sister, Sophie, in a park, their lips locked in a way that made my stomach churn. My sisters, my husband, my life, unraveling in pixels. I sat frozen on the couch, the same one where Mark and I had binged rom-coms, planned our future, and dreamed of kids. The room felt smaller now, the air thicker, like it was choking me. My hands trembled as I dialed Claire. No answer. Sophie's phone went straight to voicemail. Mark was at work, or so he'd claimed that morning, kissing my forehead before leaving. Lies. All of it. I don't know how long I sat there, replaying every moment of our marriage, searching for cracks I'd missed. The late nights he'd blamed on projects, the weekends Claire and Sophie spent at our house, giggling like teenagers, the way they'd all hush when I entered the room. How had I been so blind? When Mark walked through the door that evening, whistling like nothing was wrong, I was ready, or so I thought. We need to talk, I said, my voice steady despite the storm inside. I held up my phone, the damning photos glowing, his face drained of color, but only for a second. Then, a smirk, a goddamn smirk. Really, Anna, you're playing detective now, he said, tossing his keys on the counter. Playing, I snapped, my voice rising. You're sleeping with my sisters, Mark, both of them. How could you? He didn't flinch. You're overreacting. It's not what you think. Not what I think. I have photos. Texts you kissed Sophie in broad daylight. You took Claire to our favorite restaurant. My voice cracked, tears spilling. You betrayed me with my own family. Mark sighed. Like I was the one being unreasonable. You've always been too sensitive. Anna, Claire and Sophie, they get me. You're always so intense. Intense. The words stung like a slap. I'd given him everything, my trust, my love, my dreams, and now he stood there, rewriting our story to make me the villain. Get out, I whispered, barely audible. He laughed, a cold, hollow sound. You're serious, fine. I don't need this drama. He grabbed his jacket, his suitcase already packed by the door like he'd been waiting for this. You'll regret this, Anna. The door slammed, and he was gone. Just like that. 7 years, erased in a single night. I collapsed onto the couch, sobbing until my throat burned. But the pain wasn't just Mark's betrayal. It was Claire and Sophie, my sisters, the ones who'd braided my hair as kids, who'd cried with me at Mom's funeral, who'd promised we'd always have each other. How could they do this? The next morning, I called them both. Claire answered first, her voice shaky. Anna, I'm so sorry. It was a mistake. It just happened. A mistake, I spat. You don't accidentally sleep with your sister's husband. Claire, it wasn't like that. She stammered. Mark said you two were having problems. He said you were distant. I thought I was helping him cope. Helping him cope. I hung up, my blood boiling. Sophie's call was worse. She didn't even pretend to be sorry. You're too uptight. Anna, she said, her voice dripping with disdain. Mark needed someone who could have fun. You're always so serious. I wanted to scream, to hurl every insult I knew, but I didn't. I hung up, my heart a tangled mess of rage and grief. My sisters, my blood, had chosen Mark over me. Days blurred into weeks. I moved through life like a ghost, haunted by memories of Mark's smile, Claire's hugs, Sophie's laughter. Friends tried to help, but their pity only deepened the wound. You're better off without him, they said. Your sisters don't deserve you. Easy for them to say. They hadn't lost their entire family in one blow. I threw myself into work, hoping it would numb the pain. But every quiet moment brought it back: the photos, the smirk, the slammed door. I started seeing a therapist, a kind woman named Dr. Ellis, who listened without judgment. "You're grieving more than a marriage," she said. "You're grieving trust." She was right. Trust was the foundation I'd built my life on, and now it was rubble. But Dr. Ellis pushed me to rebuild. "You can't change them," she said, "but you can choose how you move forward." I started small. I changed the locks on the house. I packed away Mark's things, donating his clothes to charity. I blocked Claire and Sophie's numbers. It hurt, but it was a step toward reclaiming my life. Then came the letter. It arrived on a rainy afternoon, Claire's neat handwriting on the envelope. My hands shook as I opened it. "Anna," it read, "I know you hate me, and I deserve it. What I did was unforgivable. I let my loneliness cloud my judgment. Mark was charming, and I was weak. I'm not asking for forgiveness, but I need you to know I'm sorry. I've cut contact with him. I'm moving to Chicago to start over. I hope one day you can look at me without pain. Love, Claire." I read it 10 times, tears blurring the words. Part of me wanted to call her, to scream or cry, or maybe even forgive. But I wasn't ready. Not yet. Sophie, of course, sent nothing. I heard through a mutual friend that she was still seeing Mark, posting photos of their perfect life on social media. It stung, but it also clarified things. Sophie had always been selfish, chasing attention like a moth to a flame. I'd excused it as youth, but now I saw it for what it was: a choice. Months passed, and I began to find my footing. I joined a book club, made new friends, even went on a few dates. They were awkward, but they reminded me I was still alive, still capable of feeling something other than pain. One evening, as I sipped coffee in my now redecorated living room, I found myself smiling. Not at a memory of Mark or my sisters, but at myself. I'd survived. I'd lost everything: my husband, my sisters, my sense of safety, but I was still here, rebuilding piece by piece. Dr. Ellis had been right. I couldn't change the past, but I could choose my future. I started volunteering at a women's shelter, helping others who'd been betrayed or broken. Their stories mirrored mine, and in their strength, I found my own. One night, as I helped a young woman pack her bags to leave an abusive partner, she looked at me with tear-filled eyes. "How do you keep going after someone hurts you like that?" she asked. I thought of Mark's smirk, Claire's letter, Sophie's indifference. I thought of the nights I'd cried myself to sleep and the mornings I'd forced myself to get up. "You don't get over it," I said. "You get through it, one step at a time." She nodded, and in that moment, I realized I wasn't just surviving. I was healing. Mark and Sophie's relationship didn't last, or so I heard. He cheated on her, too, with someone new. Part of me felt vindicated, but mostly, I felt nothing. They were no longer my story. Claire called once. A year later, I answered, my heart pounding. Her voice was soft, hesitant. "I'm in therapy," she said. "I'm trying to be better. I miss you, Anna." I didn't know what to say. Forgiveness felt like a mountain I wasn't ready to climb, but I didn't hang up. "Maybe one day," I said, "but not today." She cried, and so did I. But when I hung up, I felt lighter. Not because we'd reconciled, but because I'd chosen honesty over anger. My life isn't perfect now. There are still nights when the betrayal creeps into my dreams, when I wonder if I'll ever fully trust again. But I'm learning to live with the scars, to see them not as wounds, but as proof of my resilience. I don't know what the future holds. Maybe I'll forgive Claire. Maybe I'll never speak to Sophie again. Maybe I'll find love, real love, with someone who sees me for who I am. But for now, I'm enough. What do you think? Was I too harsh on Claire? Or was she right to reach out? Should I try to rebuild with her? Or is it better to let go? Share your thoughts on betrayal, forgiveness, and family. Where do you draw the line?